Hey guys, I'm going to quickly review color with you. Today we are going to talk about the elements of design. There are four elements of design. Last week on Friday, we actually did some color wheel activity. If you missed that, please talk to the people at your table group and they can go into detail with that. So, first off, we use the word color and have since we were small children in elementary school. When someone say, "Oh, what color is this?" and you would automatically respond, "Blue." However, the technical name for a color is hue. So you wouldn't say, "What color is this pen?" You would say, "What hue is the pen?" Now, the name given to a color, such as red or yellow or green, that distinguishes one color from another. But when we talk about hue, we're talking about the technical word for color. And there is a large market out for digital coding with hues. There are hue codes. So if you wanted the background a specific color, you would put in a code to get it that particular hue. Then we have different ways of describing a hue. And one is the value. The value is how light or how dark something is. So if you think of a light blue, like the sky, versus a midnight blue or a navy blue, which is much darker. Then you have a tint, and that's when you take your hue, your base color, and you add white to it. And that is going to tint that hue. To get a darker hue, you're going to add black, and that will give you a shade. So if you're thinking about a color wheel, okay, you have your base, your hue, then you have your tint, which you've added white to, and then you have your shade, which you've added black to, okay? Intensity is how bright or how dull the color is. Um, so a lot of people get value and intensity mixed up. But intensity is how bright it's going to be or how dull it's going to be. So think of we'll take black, for example. You can have a patent black, which is going to be real shiny, and then you have a matte black, which is real dull. Okay, so it's bright versus dull. And then you have your neutrals. Neutrals will not be on a color wheel. Okay, they're going to be your blacks, your beiges, your grays, your whites. Neutrals can be used alone. However, they also can be used with any color on the color wheel. Now, some look better than others, but in concept, all neutrals can be put with colors. All right. So this is a color wheel, and we're going to talk about the primary hues or primary colors. Your primaries cannot be made from any other color, okay, or any other hue. That's going to be yellow, blue, and red, okay? So those are your primary hues. Then you have secondary hues, okay? Secondary hues are created by taking equal parts of the primary colors. So if I take red plus yellow, equal parts, I'm going to get orange. Yellow plus blue is going to give me green. And then blue plus red will give me violet. Okay, so those are our secondary colors, are orange, green, and violet. You get them by mixing equal parts of your primary hues. Then it's not on here right now, but then we have what we call tertiary colors. And basically, it's like the next step. So you have primary, secondary, and tertiary. And what you do there is you're going to take your primary plus your secondary. So if I take yellow plus green, I'm going to get yellow green. Okay. To make that, basically what it's saying is to make green, I took equal parts of blue and equal parts of yellow, and I got green. To get yellow green, I'm going to add a little more of the yellow with the blue to give more of that yellowy color behind it. Okay, so you'll notice you'll have a primary, tertiary, secondary, tertiary, primary. Okay, then we have color schemes. Basically, there's 6 color schemes. In your digital notebook, you will do an activity and it's calling for 8 color schemes. One of which is a warm and the other is cool. And we will talk about that also. So here are our 6 color schemes. We're going to start with monochromatic. Mono, right here, M-O-N-O, means one. Okay, so basically monochromatic is one color. So what you do is you take your base hue, so for example in this photo it's blue, and you put it together with different tints, shades, and intensity of that color. So here we have a light blue jacket and trousers with a navy. I know it looks black in the photo, but it is actually a navy or a deep blue. The next is analogous colors. Basically, analogous colors are 2 to 5 colors that touch each other on the color wheel. Okay, so if it's fall of the year, if you put orange, and yellow together, that's going to be analogous colors. Okay, so 2 to 5 that touch on the color wheel. All right, so next we have complementary colors. All right, complementary colors are colors that are directly across from each other on the color wheel. So if we go back and we look at the color wheel, yellow, green, and red, violet are directly across from each other on the color wheel. That means they are complementary colors. Okay. That also means if you're mixing those colors together, like with paint, they're going to neutralize each other out and they're going to give you a brown, beigey, sometimes muddy color. Okay. So make sure you understand that complementary colors are directly across from each other on the color wheel. So red and green, yellow and purple, or yellow and violet, blue and orange, those are directly across from each other on the color wheel, and they are going to be complements. Then you have split complements. Okay, a split complement is if you take one color, go straight down or straight across to the next color, and then go to each side of that complement. So here you would have red, straight across would be green. Green would be the complement. But we're not going to use green. We're going to split that complement and we're going to go to the left and to the right of that color. Okay, so basically you've got yellow green and blue green that would be on the side each side of green. So that is the split complement of red. Triad colors is exactly what it sounds like. It's 3 colors. Tri means 3, so a triad of colors. They have to be equal distance from each other on the color wheel. So if we look here, this is yellow orange. I'm going to go 3, 1, 2, 3. Here is blue green. I'm going to go 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and then the next one, and that is going to be red violet. Okay, so they're equal distance, forming that triangle on the color wheel. And then the last color scheme that we're going to talk about is an accented neutral. Basically, what that means is if you wore all black, because black is a neutral, and then you accented it with a gold chain, or in this photo here, you had the biggest businesswoman wearing the gray dress and she put a red scarf with it. So you're really accenting that one color in with your neutrals. Okay. So in your digital notebook, I should have had this open. I apologize. In your digital notebook, on slide 31, it tells you that you are creating merchandise displays. Now, guys, you can use your own clothes that you have at home, which would be great, or you can Google search. You are going to create color schemes based on these 8 color schemes. You have warm, cool, monochromatic, complementary, split complementary, analogous, triadic, and an accented neutral. Okay, here you can see that we have a triadic scheme here. We used red, blue, and yellow. Here's our red, our blue, and yellow. This is gold, so it's a yellow. So I've named the color scheme, named the colors, put in a photo, and then added the color wheel. On the next page here is all of the color wheels that you can simply copy and paste into your document. Okay, and then when you're done, you can delete that page or leave it. It's completely up to you. But what I wanted to point out was the cool and warm. It's not in the presentation. So when we say cool and warm, we're talking about one whole half of the color wheel. Okay. So if you are going from red to yellow green, those are warm colors. Okay. Think of fall, that type of thing. Those are warm colors. If you are on the other side of the color wheel, going from green to red violet, those are cool colors. Okay. So you don't have to use all of the colors to represent cool or all of the colors to represent warm. What we're looking for is the outfit a cool outfit or is it a warm outfit? Okay. Then you have these pages already set up for you. You'll put your image in here, name the color scheme, name the colors, and add the color wheel. And you'll do that for all 8 color schemes. Okay. All right. Now we're going to talk about shape. If y'all have any questions on color, please email me or send me a remind message. So shape is also known as the silhouette. Okay. So your silhouette is the overall form of the outfit. If we think of, for example, the shape of the outfit in the photo here, they have the big bustle in the back, which adds, width to the bottom. They have the cinched waistline. You automatically know that this is from the early 20th century or the late 19th century. Okay. Um, when you look at the shape or the silhouette, you need to be looking at width and length of the neckline, your sleeves, your waist. Again, with pants and skirts, a width and length. Okay. Then we're going to move into line. Okay. So their line is meant to elongate. It is the path that your eye moves. Is that line causing your eye to move vertically, up and down, horizontally, which is left to right, or is it causing you to look around an object? Okay. It's going to give direction. It's going to give movement to the clothing. And it also should draw your eyes to a good location. However, if not done correctly, it can bring out the bad view of a particular outfit. Okay. So the line is supposed to draw your attention to good parts of the outfit. There are two basic types of lines, and we all know this. You've got straight lines, and straight lines are going to be very severe, very formal. They have dignity, power. Okay. Curved lines, that could be gentle waves, it could be circles. Those are going to give the illusion of softness and roundness. Okay. So curved lines tend to be more feminine, where straight lines tend to be considered more masculine. Now, directions of lines. These are all straight lines. So you have vertical lines here on this man's shirt. You have, and vertical lines are going to create the illusion of someone being taller, okay, and more slender, okay. So if you have, if you're a little chunkier like me, vertical lines help, okay. They're going to give that illusion that you're more slender and taller. Horizontal lines, like here in this top corner, they go around the body. Okay. So horizontal lines give the illusion of being shorter, but also wider. Okay. So if you want to look taller or give the illusion of being more slender, you want vertical lines. If you are super skinny, and want to give that illusion that you are a little thicker, then you want to use horizontal lines. Then you have diagonal lines, and those are lines that are at an angle. And sometimes they work better and give that illusion of the softness and of strength, okay? And that is in the lady's dress right here. Now, the one thing you need to know when you start sewing, if you're doing vertical lines, you need to make sure, just like in this dress, that all of the lines match up. If not, it's going to look like a hot mess. Now, lines in a garment can be structural lines. That means they're put there when the garment is constructed. Those are going to be your seams, your darts, pleats, tucks, and edges. Okay, so they are part of the construction. They are there to hold the garment together. All right, but then you have decorative lines. Decorative lines are just what they sound like, decoration. Okay, you can add them with top stitching. You could use lace, tabs, flaps, even buttons to create that line. Now, buttons can be part of the structural part as far as holding the garment together, like in a shirt, but they can also be used as to decorate the garment. Okay, make sure you understand. Hint, hint. Understand the difference in a structural line and a decorative line. Then you go into texture. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's how something looks and how it feels. Okay. So texture can create an illusion of size. It can disguise figure irregularities and add interest to a garment. Now, there are two ways of adding texture to a garment. The first is structural. Structural texture is determined by the type of fabric you're using or yarn and how you construct the garment. Okay, so how you produced it. So if you think of a hoodie, okay, just picture a hoodie in your head. If it is created out of fleece, then it gives that structural texture that is thick, bulky, okay? But if that same hoodie, same pattern, was created out of a jersey, which is like a t-shirt material, then that structural texture is going to be much softer, okay? Then you can add visual texture, and you do that through the print on the fabric. Whether you're adding height or width to the wearer, sometimes it's like a shiny texture because it's going to reflect light. Those are applied to the surface of the fabric. Okay, so those are on the surface of the fabric. That is the color, the dyes. That's where you're getting that texture. Okay. So that was the elements of design. So you have 4 elements of design, but then you have 5 principles of design. Principles of design, you have balance, proportion, emphasis, rhythm, and then harmony or unity. They're used interchangeably. Okay. So balance is exactly what you think of. Can you stand with your feet together and balance? How is your equilibrium? Okay. It's going to give a steadiness to the garment. So balance is produced by the parts of the garment working together. You have a formal balance and you have informal balance. Formal balance is both sides of the garment are identical to each other. They resemble each other, they're symmetrical, they look like they belong together, just like in the photo here with the 2 armchairs, the lamp, and the pictures. If we were to split that down the middle, put them on top of each other, they are symmetrical. They match. That is formal balance. Informal balance is an asymmetrical, okay? That means that one side is not equal to the other, okay? If we take this photo here and fold it in half, we are not going to have symmetry. Think of a high-low dress, high-low skirt. That is informal balance. The front is higher than the back. Or back in the 80s, I'll tell you, back in the old days, before y'all were even thought about, we had informal balance in our hair. That's where one side was short and the other side was long. It was an asymmetrical cut. Okay. Informal balance can add a lot of depth to an outfit, a lot of interest. However, it has to be done in a way where people aren't looking at it going, oh, what are we doing here? It has to, even though it's informal and it's asymmetrical, it has to make sense. Okay. Then we have proportion. Proportion is how things relate size-wise. Okay, so if we look here, we see the little baby with really big feet. Okay, so are the garment details and accessories proportioned to the wearer? Okay, for example, if you have a tiny person, and you put a big hat on their head, does it work proportionately to that particular garment or that particular wearer? You also want to make sure that proportionately the garment is divided unevenly. Okay. If you take a garment and you cut it right in half, that is not the ideal visual to the clients. Okay. There is a golden ratio, and that's 2/3 to 1/3. All right. Then you go into emphasis, and emphasis is exactly what it says. You are emphasizing a particular area or a particular accessory in a garment or in a design. The emphasis is the focal point. It is what you want to draw the eye to, okay? Or draw the eye away from. So if, for example, you have someone that has a part of their body that they are self-conscious about, then you would want to emphasize another part so that the eye goes to that location versus the location where the person feels they are flawed. You provide emphasis through color, structural, texture, lines, decorative lines, accessories. Those is how you draw emphasis to the area you're wanting to focus on. Okay, so you're drawing attention either to a particular area or away from a particular area. You have to be very careful when you do this because you can cause issues with the person's self-confidence of what they're wearing. Now, rhythm, think of rhythm, think of music. It is how the eye moves with the outfit. Okay, so it is the feeling of movement. When you look at something, your eye is moving there. Okay, so there's 4 types. One is repetition. And repetition means that you are repeating the same lines and shapes, color, and texture. It is on a repeat. Okay. So, for example, when you were in elementary school and they wanted you to do a pattern and you had 2 colors and you did red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, that's repetition. Okay. Gradation or progression, think of an ombre look. That is where you're creating rhythm by gradually either increasing or decreasing a similar design element. Now, in the photo here, we're taking the blue and we're decreasing from the bottom to the top the amount of blue. We're increasing the tint, the amount of white that we put with that blue. Okay. Now, that could also be done with lines. If you think of starting, and I know I've seen it in men's shirts where you have the thick line at the bottom and the next line's a little bit thinner and it keeps going up. And so the line decreases in width. Okay. So with gradation or progression, it is the increase or decrease of a similar design element. Radiation is exactly what it sounds like. It is radiating from a central point. Okay. Rays of sunshine. And usually it gives a focal point, like a center point. Think of an eye of a storm. That's your center point, and everything radiates out from it. And then alternation. Sorry, words aren't working right now. You are alternating between. It could be between colors. It could be between lines. So you might have, like for the example in these ties, you have a thick black, thin white, thick black, or in the one where you have a thick red, a thin white, a thinner red. You're alternating between light and dark colors and stripes. You have that alternating, and it's not the same as repetition. Repetition, you're repeating the same texture, line, and color. Alternating, you're alternating the two. Okay. So if you want to appear shorter or thinner, shorter or thicker, short and thick, you want sharply contrasting colors. You want light, bright, warm colors. They're going to give you wide silhouettes. You want horizontal lines. That's going to create that shorter, wider look. Bold prints, plaids, bulky texture, wide contrasting belts, and a lot of pleats and gathers. If you want to appear taller and thinner, you want to stick with black, navy blue, charcoal. Charcoal is a deeper gray, or chocolate browns. Monochromatic colors. You want straight silhouettes, vertical lines. Your prints and your plaids should be subtle, not a lot of bold, bright colors and prints. You want smooth, flat textures. And if you're wearing a belt, you would want the belt to be narrow, and you would want it to match the outfit color. Okay. This is important. You need to remember this. Harmony is how it all works together. Okay. It means, did you, once you've went through all of these elements of design, okay, the elements, the 4 elements, when you put them together, did you create harmony? Does it come together as a unit? Okay. For example, these 2 outfits, completely, totally different. Do you see harmony? Do they work together? Okay. You will take and make sure that your color, your shape, your line, and your texture are working with your principles, your balance, proportion, emphasis, and rhythm. All of that together creates harmony. And that is the overall goal of any type of design that you create, is harmony. Does it all work together? And we've all seen those outfits that do not create harmony, and you look at someone and go, what were you thinking? Okay. You want to make sure that how you dress your client creates harmony on their bodies and for them. If you don't create that harmony, then you're going to have an unhappy client. What you also need to understand is harmony is subjective. What that means is what you find harmonious, someone else may not. And you've got to listen to what the client wants, make recommendations, and then work together to make it the achieved harmony of that outfit. Okay, so this last slide here, it goes over your elements of design. And remember that shape and silhouette are the same thing. I just gave you two examples here so that you could see the different shape. So you have line, color, shape, and texture. And then you have your principles of design, which are your proportion, your balance, the rhythm, the emphasis, and then harmony. Now, if you have any questions or need me to help you with anything in your digital notebook, please send me an email or a message on Remind, and I will help you as much as I can. Also, I will be at the school this afternoon to work with those that need help with their no-sew projects. Please make sure you have 2 to 3 fat quarters for whichever project that you're working on. And I will help you either create a pattern for you to use or show you how to use the rotary cutters. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.